Good evening, good afternoon, good morning, good whatever time it is, wherever you are, whoever you are. Welcome once again to Full Fat Spoiler Chat, the show in which we, the many folks tonight, people from Nerd Caliber, talk about a recent piece of nerdy entertainment. And in doing so, we spoil it. We talk about the things we like, we didn't like, what was good, what was bad, if there was any sort of theme or tone or message to take away from it. And so, therefore, if you have not seen the second season of the Netflix animated series Dota Dragon's Blood,
What are you doing here?
what are you doing here? And or you don't like spoilers, then you probably should be watching this after you've seen it. So feel free to leave, come back. If you have seen it and or you don't care about spoilers, then absolutely hang around, chat with us, let us know what you think of the show, what you think of our opinions of the show. Love to have you tell us about it in the chats on all the various things that we're on. Who are those we? Well, I'm Rodney Brown. I'm the editor-in-chief of Nerd Caliber, first-person shooter on Facebook, as a cosplay photographer, Burley_adopter on Twitter, a couple of other places doing a bunch of other things. Let's see. Joining me tonight, and I think we're going to save Manny for last, so Byron, with your TAM, let us know what you're up to.
Hello, I am Byron McNeil, aka Byron D0, multiple facets of the internet, contributing writer, social media consultant, and content creator. I do a lot of things in a lot of places, and if you like video game reviews, if you like video essays, check out what I do there. Check out what I do on YouTube, Byron D0. Also, you can check out my web series on Webtoons. It's called Sisterhoods, and it's 2 words. Check it out.
Awesome. Please do check that out, folks. And joining us tonight from the fabulous Memorial Library, Nerd Caliber Memorial Library, Manny, introduce yourself if you would.
Hello, everyone. Hello, everyone. I'm Manny. I'm the founder of Nerd Caliber and co-runner with whichever Rodney is and which window you see him in. And I'm very happy to be here tonight.
Cool. And we are very happy to have you here tonight. All right, so the format for this, folks, is always pretty much the same. We start talking about things we like. We then go on to things we didn't like. We talk about theme, tone, and messages. But first, we describe what this is and where it came from. So it's an animated series on Netflix. This is the second season. Both seasons, first and second season, were 8 episodes long. It is based on Dota 2, which is the second version of the game Defense of the Ancients. And it is a MOBA, a multiplayer online battle arena game. And is generally considered to be the thing that sort of spawned League of Legends.
Yes.
Not that it's a direct ripoff, but it's clearly inspired by. Dota itself is, however, a kind of I wouldn't say a direct ripoff, a fork of Warcraft. And then they added the online, battle stuff.
It modified the engine from Warcraft.
Right. With their own lore and different, and lots and lots of lore. So much lore to mine for an animated series. It's made by Studio Mir out of North Korea, folks that recently did The Witcher, Nightmare of the Wolf, did Legend of Korra. So, So excellent, stuff. They have a good.
Didn't they do Sheer also? Didn't they do Sheer also?
No. At least not based on what I can see here. No. However, they are doing all of the current season of Young Justice.
Ooh.
Yeah.
The Phantom season?
Yep. They did a couple of episodes, 2 episodes for Outsiders. And apparently they were well regarded enough that they were given the entire season.
Wow.
So
I am impressed by what I've seen of that series, of that season so far.
Yeah, that's a different show, which may go on the docket at some point.
Good point.
Whenever they finish the season.
Exactly. By the way, anybody in the chat already, Millie, if you're still with us, hello. And again, of course, says spoilers everywhere, but we're spoiling this animated series. But I think
Spoilers.
that's who we've got so far. All right. So let's start. Let's see. I think we're going to actually start with Manny because
Please.
Byron's been on many, many times in the past few weeks. Um, so, Manny, what did you like? What worked for you? What did you think they shot for and actually hit?
Okay. I was thinking about that question, good and bad, before the show started, and
That's
I
good.
think my
Otherwise, we wouldn't have a show. So,
that's true. That's true. That's true. I try to be prepared. I try to be, but I think my answers are going to be a little complicated because it seems like my criticisms, good and bad, are kind of interwoven with everything about the show.
okay.
Um, but I'll give you my general feel about the show. I enjoyed it a lot. Lots of action, lots and lots of action. Um,
Yes.
Animation, I thought it was really good. The design of the dragons, it was nice. I like that. It even the typical tropes of like styles of ice dragons and fire dragons, that I felt they sort of reinvented it in a much cooler way in some ways.
Yep.
Um, I enjoy all the characters. I thought they were great. I think honestly the one thing that this show really does is that every episode, and of course this is a possible bad as well. Every episode, there's so many twists and turns. You cannot be really bored what's happening because things are happening really, really fast. Like it's one episode, and the episode after that, almost like totally different storylines. Everything changes. Some good guys become bad guys. Some bad guys become good guys. You find out lost secrets and twists and turns. I feel like M. Night's looking at this like, okay, this is too much for me
What
when it comes to
is?
twists. This is too many twists.
Yep.
Um, so that's what I generally liked about it. But again, like I thought the music, the score was good. I thought the animation was really good.
Yeah.
Voice acting, I thought was really superb. I will watch Tony Todd do anything. He's just such a great actor.
Or listen.
That too. And
He's the dragon. He was the dragon that was in Davian, right?
Yes,
Yep.
he's Slyrak.
Okay.
I would love to see a spin-off show with just him. Honestly, that's how great I think he is. It was nice to hear. I forgot the actor's name, but who played Worf in the show as well.
Michael
Kind of
Dorn?
Michael Dorn.
Yep.
Yes.
Yes.
I thought that was him.
Yeah, kind of a callback maybe to their time together at Star Trek Next Generation, maybe. Either way, that was nice.
Asar, the feline-like
The wolf.
warrior guardian of the princess.
Yeah, but yeah, this was. I have to say, it definitely kept me awake the entire time. I didn't know what was going to happen. It's almost like they try to. I don't know if it's. I have to check if it's the same writers. It was different writers because I feel like it was like they were trying to top each other each time for every episode.
I
Like,
can
oh,
see that.
you did that last episode? Okay, I got to think of a better idea for this one. But to keep it short, that's pretty much my favorite parts about this series so far.
Mm.
Yeah. So pretty much all the writers from both seasons or from last season are together in this season, and they do sort of mix things up. The showrunner or creator, Ashley Miller, wrote 12 episodes.
Wow.
Someone, Ashley Halloran, wrote 9 or was a writer on 9. Mitch Iverson also. Stephen Melching, Amy Chu wrote 1. Anyway, yeah, so it's all the same writers from the past season as well. And yeah, they all are apparently mixing things up.
Yeah, I'm very curious about the game. Is the game even still happening now? Is it still like?
Yeah, as far as I know, Dota 2 is
Yeah,
still
as far
a
as
game.
I know. I think it's free to play.
I think so, yeah.
Okay, because I'm definitely curious. I'm just wondering, like, okay, what is this game about exactly?
Well,
I played a little bit in college.
Yeah, if you've played Warcraft on BattleNet, so it's an online version of the Warcraft strategy game, or if you've played League of Legends, it's kind of somewhere in the middle there. It's definitely a MOBA. It's definitely an online, multiplayer online battle arena game. But anyway, Byron, same questions. What was good?
Okay.
What'd you like? What worked?
Okay, so like I definitely share a lot of Manny's sentiments as far as the animation, some great use of the lore, like great expansion. I love the development of characters from the previous season. Like of course, Davian has come into his own as as a heroic figure. Um, I love Bram's development the most. He grew so much in those 8 episodes to become someone worthy of ascending to the role of Dragon Knight. Uh, I love that little. I love the little not like will they won't they thing going on with him and the dragon lady. I cannot remember her name.
Begins with an A. Arak.
Ice dragon.
Yeah.
Arth.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that relationship that they had. It made it made her fate all the more heart wrenching though.
Yeah. Yeah, I did like the pairing. I thought it was very interesting.
Yep.
How it was played out.
I I loved how this show didn't pull any punches. Like the writers are just like, I don't care if you like them, they're gonna die.
Yeah. We'll have to see in season 3.
Yeah, we'll have to see. But as far as we know now, like they are dead.
Right.
Again, music, animation, some slick animation. Like I loved it so much. I love the dynamic between Davian and Cyric as well because it gave me Naruto vibes. But it's like if the Demon Fox Kurama was like much more like much less angsty and much less bitter and just straight up nihilistic.
Yep. That's him up on the screen there. That is the dragon Slyrak that's inside Davion. Hence the name Dragon's Blood. Other stuff.
I don't want to repeat the points that Manny made, but it was damn good.
Yep. All right. So again, I'm agreeing with most of the points here. I at first was a little upset at the deaths, but then I realized that they weren't fridged because these characters actually did very important things on their own that led to things happening within the story, and so they weren't just there to motivate the characters. And as a matter of fact, the only one that could be considered sort of a positive motivational, or a forward motivational death. The other one, Arak, was just freaking sad. It's like really sad.
I want my half human, half dragon babies.
I have to say, I was a little bit. It's like, okay, we're going full like Shrek Donkey here.
Sure, why not?
Actually mate with the dragon. Like, okay,
Dragonborn. That's what the Dragonborn made.
Go. Get some Dragonborn. I'm not even sure if that's part of the lore, but maybe it is. So other things that I really liked about it, I thought that they did an excellent job of ramping up the action. I think there was more action in this second season than in the previous ones.
Way more.
I appreciated the fact that while it's still in Japanese, it would be called a seinen series because it's geared towards people who appreciate politics and betrayal and things like that, and it's it's not just a shonen, it's not just an action series. But I appreciate the fact that they sort of cut out the other seinen-ish stuff from the first, like Davion, showing half-naked women while Davion is, in the first couple of episodes anyway of the first season, enjoying his, the fact that he's a dragon knight and nobody ever says no to a dragon knight. It's like, okay, I get it. There's none of that in this season. There's not room for it, to be sure.
I think it was also more of a sign of his maturity as a character now.
It's a sign of his maturity of the character and of the fact that there are consequences so dire for everything that they're doing that there's just not time. So I liked that. I appreciated that move away from that particular type of storytelling. Not that I ever mind, whatever. So I really, like everybody else has said, enjoyed the voice acting.
So much.
I think everybody did a really solid job, and I was really surprised at. I was looking through this cast here. Some of the people that were cast for either important tertiary or even one-off roles.
Who was the voice actor of Damian?
Davian is Yuri Lowenthal.
That explains a lot. I was like, he sounds familiar. My first guess was going to be David Faustino because of his work in Korra. Because
yep,
it sounded eerily similar to his work in Korra.
I can see that. But you've got Troy Baker as Invoker. You've got some classic voice acting names in here, but they pulled in some really interesting people, and it seems like whoever was doing the voice casting for this is a fan of science fiction, TV science fiction in particular, and horror.
Also anime.
But also so TV science fiction. You've got as the Legatus, Teomir, Claudia Christian from Babylon 5. As even though he's only in one episode, as the previous emperor, as Miranda's father, Emperor Zal, was Dwight Schultz, Barclay from like every Star Trek series ever.
Nice.
I
love the fact that he's still working.
But then they just this blows my mind that they put these two people in, and we knew from last season, like Robert Englund is the voice of one of the dragons. So again,
and of course he's the crazy one.
The crazy one. He's not actually the Chaos Dragon because that's the one that shows up at the end.
I thought he was the Chaos Dragon.
Well, maybe he is. He is. You're right. He's the one at the end is called the Void Dragon. That's right. He is the Chaos Dragon. But
he was fun.
I guess what do you call it? The research head of the Dragon Knight Keep, Jeffrey Combs, Reanimator. Yeah. Also Ritterfow, the actual warrior leader of the Dragon Knights Keep, the one who gets bitten too. John Delancey, Q from Star Trek. But this blew my mind. So I was looking at who played Kashura, and then Burzak, I think is his name, as the Void Dragon, the Viceroy, the one who keeps calling her Sunbeam and giving away ultimately the end of the entire, season.
The Creeper.
This guy named Doug Bradley.
Pinhead.
Okay. Well, you know who that is.
I actually have his autograph somewhere around here. Yeah.
So,
nice.
I think you said it while I was talking over you.
Oh, Pinhead? Yes.
Yeah.
Yep, Pinhead.
So the original, like in the very first Hellraiser, he doesn't even have that name. He's credited as lead Cenobite.
Yeah.
And he's perfect. And I wouldn't have recognized his voice at all, but when I saw the picture on IMDb, I'm like, why does that bald head look vaguely familiar? Even though it's much older. And sure enough, yep, that's him.
Wow.
I loved how reserved he was in his human form.
Oh yeah. So I mean, he did a fantastic job as a voice actor. Now he's done a lot of voice acting stuff as well as a lot of horror stuff, like live performance. So I really like the voice acting. I think they did a fantastic job with that. I think the animation is also improved from last season, and it was pretty solid last season.
Indeed.
Particularly the integration of the CG elements. I think they did a fantastic job with the CG dragons this season, making them look more like a part of the 2D environment. Almost as good as like Godzilla Singular Point or some of the work that's done, in Demon Slayer. Really, really excellent job by Studio Mir. And let's see, anything else in particular that really stood out for me? Um, I like the changes to, like you said, to Bram. I think that was a very good thing. But I also like the changes to Caden. Um, and ultimately even Slyrak. There's a lot of growth of the characters throughout this season. Some not so much. Invoker's Invoker. That's
Yeah, unfortunately.
yeah. But yeah. So I thought that was really good. That part of the writing, really solid. Great action writing, good character development. Yeah, so that's those are my favorite things about it. And now we're going to move on to the things we didn't particularly care for. Manny, what didn't you like? What didn't work for you?
I know I mentioned before that I liked how fast paced it was, but that's also one of my main criticisms about it too. It's a little too fast. It almost felt like they had a
Yeah.
meeting and say, "Hey, I have a 7-season plan for the show." Like, okay, make it one season. Because it's crazy. Like if you think about the character Slayer, we got so many twists and turns, like from introducing her, so it was a connection between her and the main character, and then you find out that she's like quite a little bit about her past. She was uh, always looking for a home, almost pretty much abused. Also, finally becomes a hero, becomes the emperor or the regent,
Yep.
and then you find out that she hired the assassin, and this goes like, what? What's going on here? I liked it.
It was a lot.
And then,
Yeah,
in theory, ultimately gets killed by the Void Dragon.
yeah, yeah, and it's and it makes me think, like, if they would have just paced it a bit, maybe 3 seasons, this could have been a really, really good show because they would have more time to flesh everything out.
Yeah.
And what I saw was really good. It was so fast. It would have been good, like in the beginning of the second season, to have maybe like a 3-minute explanation of what happened before. Because again, first season was a little fast too, but nothing like the second season, of course. But because they just went straight into it, and I was like, oh wait, what is going on? And I had to stop and go back a little bit so I could catch up what's going on. Um, uh, I really didn't like what's her name? Her death, not the dragon, the mute bodyguard.
Marcy.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, because I felt like they were trying to. There was now kind of explaining where she got her like these abilities and more backstory, and then that stopped. I'm assuming in season 3, which I'm assuming that's the last season, because I can't imagine how much more it's gonna go.
Yeah.
But I really hope she comes back, because that's just kind of strange. It's such a strange loose end.
Yeah, it's there's no way that Marcy is permanently dead. For one, we don't know what Marcy is, and Marcy is something strong enough to punch the bejesus out of a Void Dragon. She's definitely something.
Yeah,
yes,
exactly.
She is.
I think of all the storylines, the one with the Selamine,
Yep.
the moon gods, that I cared less about. Like, I just like, again, I think everything happened so fast. It felt like they were just repeating what happened in the first season, and then somehow she got back her powers, and now things are bad again. It just happened so fast. I just didn't care.
Yeah.
And that's really it. I think that's really the pacing was just a little too fast. I think that's why I hurt this series the most.
Yep. All right. Cool. Byron?
Okay, so one thing that stuck out to me the most is things I hated was the face turn of Caden. It's like the end of the season, he's basically made clear that he doesn't care that if Davion is still in there. He wants to kill that dragon. And then like mid episode, between episodes 1 and 2, he's like, you need to treat him with humility. It's like, you just fucking betrayed him, and you want to talk about treating him with humanity. You don't get that right, dude. And I mean, I've never really been a fan of his pattern of speech either. Like it's like, can't talk, water. Like, it's like, dude, speaking complete sentences.
Yeah, I don't
That's
know.
just
I think I kind of like that about the character, but
that's just a personal gripe of mine.
Yeah.
but yeah, like I mean, I can forgive that, but the shift in his character was just too sudden.
Yeah.
And like Manny says, I think a lot of that had to do with the pacing. He didn't earn the right to he didn't earn that at all. It was just like the word just like we need to make him sympathetic because he's going to become an ally eventually. It's like you couldn't maybe if you had fleshed it out more, that might have worked.
Yeah.
I just want to say real fast, and I said this at the last video too about season 1. Terrorblade is still the most stupidest name for a main villain.
Oh hell yes!
Where all of the
That name.
others have, fantasy-esque names. Some of them were a little. I mean, really, the kind of nebbishy, cute, short, best friend assistant to one of the lead characters is named Marcy. Hello, Charlie Brown is going to sue somebody?
Yeah. I mean, Salamine is kind of pushing it too, because you're just like, could you make it more obvious that she's a moon goddess?
Right. Well, in that case, I mean, supposedly the real moon goddess is Meme, and then she is Selameme. So, and she's a knockoff of the moon goddess. I kind of can give it, but you're right. It's basically...
That just makes it even more derivative.
Right. Somebody went, hey, how do we change, Celine? Like, oh, let's put an M and an M back there. Selameme.
Sure.
Anyway, sorry. Go ahead.
No, it's fine. Yeah, Marcy's sacrifice felt way too sudden. Like, if they don't I would love it if they at least explain where she comes from, like her culture, or because she has to have some sort of lineage that allowed her to fight a dragon on even terms.
Clearly. If they did so many, way too many, flashbacks to sort of, set things up and explain some of the other characters, why didn't we see that from Marcy? But anyway.
I mean, some certain parts were a little too predictable. Like, by the time, you knew that the Vizier was going to have some sort of ulterior motives, like constantly calling the princess his sunbeam. Like, he's a creep for a reason.
Yeah. Yep. Agreed.
Yeah. They telegraph these hits way too far in advance.
Yeah. Yeah, particularly the name of the empire, the Helios Empire, and he keeps calling her his sunbeam, and there's some sort of magical orb that is only activated by people of her bloodline. And then it's like, okay, I get it. Now
and it's I wasn't chosen. I'm like, gee, I wonder who was chosen. Maybe it's the person with the royal blood.
And what is she chosen as? I'm gonna go just on the a sun goddess, just sunbeam. Hello. Anyway, yeah, that was pretty predictable.
Yep. Those were my biggest gripes, though.
Yeah. All right, so I agree certainly with Manny's idea about the pacing. It was odd and mostly way too fast, with the exception of some things that were, I think, put in there to attempt to slow it down, which were the flashbacks, which were meh. I mean, they didn't really do anything to add to the character other than, it gave Marana the slogan that her mother gave her that supposedly sort of brought her back around. Like, okay. And so we had to, sit through almost half an entire episode of that just to get that information.
Exposition.
Yeah, it's not good.
Exposition.
Now, granted, it wouldn't.
Exposition.
It means we would have missed Dwight Schultz as, Emperor Zal, so I guess that's good.
I could listen to him read the phone book, though.
He is amazing. But my biggest complaint with it is, while some of the writing actually improved from last season, and I thought it was pretty even and solid last season. Some of it was clearly suffering from, and now that you mention it, Manny, I think it might have been the need to rush. Like, characters were doing things that absolutely did not make sense for them, you know, the way their character had developed up to that point, literally just minutes ago.
Hmm.
You know, one example that just absolutely blew my mind is when Fimrin has disguised herself as a human and is in that caravan of people that are, you know, fleeing from the war, and she tries to stop them from executing the, you know, humans that they have found. And she manages to, you know, hide the dad and his baby. And by the way, in all of that screaming and yelling, that baby would not be silent ever. But anyway, and then she goes out and she tries to stop them, and she turns back into her form so that maybe they'll listen to her, you know, as an elf. You know,
it backfires.
Well, it's not that it backfires. Well, yeah, it backfires. She's held in place while they slaughter all these humans. She can teleport. She can turn invisible. She can shape change, and she. There's no, and we don't know at this point that she's actually, you know, an avatar of the original Moon Goddess, but we eventually learn that. There is zero chance that two people would be able to hold her. Ever. Just everything you've demonstrated about her abilities up to that point just completely got set aside. She might as well have just sat there and went, oh shit, this is bad. And forgot that she can literally teleport behind the guys behind her and cut their heads off. You know, just anyway.
Yeah, to piggyback your point, when Luna at the end just says that she doesn't want to worship Selamine anymore, I felt that it didn't make sense to me because I wasn't sure why, because everything again was rushed. So I didn't understand where I didn't understand where the break of her faith came from exactly.
Right, and they didn't show anything, you know, in any of her experiences up to that point that would break her faith.
And then like how everyone else like followed suit.
Right. Yeah, it was like, oh well, our commander doesn't want to do this, so screw that. We don't want to do it either.
I like when she said that in that scene, I was like, I was expecting for the rest of them to be all like, no, we're going back with the goddess.
Yeah. Yeah. And not betray, but, you know, leave Luna on her own. Oh, and just to finish off that, you know, Fimrin thing, and then they leave her there. She tried to stop these psychotic elves who are murdering every human they can find. And so she's clearly not on their side. Elves do not have any problem killing other elves. That was clearly demonstrated when they were fighting with Luna's forces, which have a bunch of elves in it. Why did they leave her there? So that the writers could show the effect of all of this on her personality and make her more susceptible to Terrorblade's influence to try to turn her against Invoker. That is one of the most obvious examples of let's write a character to do something that they wouldn't ever do just so we can get to plot point 7. Davion, the same thing. You know, when Mirana gets hit with the, I don't even like the cover people in amber, turn them to gold, whatever the hell.
Yeah, I was going to say it's like the amber arrow.
Yeah, let's call it amber arrow, and is, as far as he knows, dead at that point. And Luna or Lena, one of them, it must be Luna because Lena wouldn't have pointed it out, points out where the assassin is. Like she saw it. It's like the arrow came from right over there, and then we see, in fact, it's whatever her name is. The weird thing. I have no idea what that being is supposed to be.
She looks like a wraith.
Yeah, except she's definitely solid. Anyway, Venari, that's it. Is up on, you know, the edge of a you know, round top tower. And
she'll be back.
Davion starts to turn. It's like, okay, he's going to go after her. And then he stops. As far as he knows, the woman he loves just got killed, and he knows where the person who did it is in his line of sight out that window, and he starts to turn into the one thing that can get him there almost instantly and attack her. And then he stops. just so the script can continue revealing the fact that she's somehow powered by sunlight, yet we get it. She's a sun goddess. I got it 2 episodes ago. Anyway, just move my mic around. So yeah, so it's better writing, and then off a cliff, doing something absolutely stupid. And now that you brought it up, I'm pretty sure it's because let's get this rushed through. They have not confirmed a season 3. There kind of has to be one.
Because there's still unanswered questions. Like, are we really going to leave the final conflict between Slyrak and Terrorblade like unfinished?
Right. Is Davion not going to be part of it? You know, he thinks they're separated. Yeah, and here's another thing. In the beginning of season 1, Davion and Slyrak merged as 2 separate beings, merged together because of Slyrak almost dying from Terrorblade's attack. And then at the beginning of this season, Father in the Dragon Knight's Keep says, "Oh, well, there are people who have had dragon's blood, you know, blah blah blah." And then Slyrax tells Davion, "We've been together forever. You know, our blood is the same. I have your blood. You have." Which is it? And then at the end, Slyrak supposedly removes himself. I'm like, is it the stuff we found out at the beginning of season 1? Is it the stuff we found out at the beginning of season 2? You know. Anyway, so, and at points, particularly when they started doing the, you know, people doing really dumb things that they really shouldn't have been doing, which is around, you know, the middle of episode 5 into the middle of episode 6, I was really getting, you know, why am I going to force myself to watch the rest of this? This is too stupid. And
it was fun.
They brought it back, I have to say. I mean, they were still dumb. There was, you know, no idea why, what the motivation is for Kashura to protect and then, you know, kill or want to kill Marana. You know, he's supposedly, he thinks that the sun is like his partner or something, but that just doesn't make any sense. And why would he then arrange for her father to be killed, and then just look the other way when Davion kills her uncle? You know, the motivation made absolutely no sense whatsoever.
Cue the trigonometry meme, like.
Oh yeah, you're literally going, why are you doing? I mean, it's cool, but it was so cool. The fights were so cool from that point on. The action was so cool. There were so many tragic things, even though I hate that both of them happened. And I really want Marcy's to be reversed. I would really like Aurochs to be reversed too. But
yes. She was best girl.
She was kind of best girl. Yeah, but still, it's. I was pretty impressed that they happened at all, and it seems to be like they may last. So they got me. Now, the last couple of episodes, they pretty much brought it home, aside from the fact that there were moments where the fight between, his name is Bisrak or something like that, when he's the Void Dragon, and Slyrak are a little bit, you know, Dark City Kaiju, like, you know, okay.
I could see that.
It's, you know, it's the end of an MCU. It's 2 things fighting in Sky. You know,
with a little hint of Naruto.
Well, yeah, that's true. So yeah, so that, you know, those were my main disappointments in it, but ultimately they brought it back around for the most part. All right, folks, tone, theme, message. Is there anything that this is supposed to tell us? Other than don't drink an awful lot of caffeine before you start writing your scripts.
I couldn't detect a theme, honestly. I don't know what the show's trying to say. Things are happening too fast. I don't know how it's going to end.
Yep.
I'm trying to think of the theology of the show, about the idea of the dragons being linked to creation. I am not sure, honestly. It's definitely full of action, but I don't know.
Yeah.
I can't say. I have no clue what the theme at the end is going to be. Um, I have no clue.
Byron, any thoughts?
I mean, there's definitely a narrative about fate here somewhere because
True.
you have the Salamini plot line. You have everything going on with Mirana and her stepping up to her role as now Empress.
God Empress.
God Empress of the Sun, no less. Um, Davion taking the reins when the other Dragon Knights have fallen.
Yep.
And Bram's subplot about him becoming a full-fledged Dragon Knight.
Yeah, I don't see that being faith so much.
Well, no, yeah, oh yeah, that's another. Well, that was going to be my next one. Like, also maturity because
Yes.
Bram was like the start of the series. Bram was a snot-nosed punk, and now and again now he's a Dragon Knight. Now he understands the world around him a little bit better.
Yep.
And he just, I mean, he's actually lost something that he truly cared about, but he hasn't he understands what he's fighting for now, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, I would say if there is one thing that kind of runs through all of it, and this is seen at the beginning of the episode with what happens to Father, or the beginning of the season, and at the end of how Kashura, the Viceroy, is revealed to be what he is that in almost every stage, Selemene herself, power corrupts. And absolute power corrupts absolutely. The more power you have, the more corrupted you're going to be.
I mean, you see that with Mirana's uncle.
Yes. Although, yeah, kind of. He's just. He seems to me more like, yeah, some guy who literally just fell into a really good spot. Because.
Yeah.
You know,
But even then, his motivation doesn't make sense. Why'd he want to be ruler exactly? I mean, like, I don't know.
Well, remember, he was sort of tricked into it, or somehow controlled into it by the Viceroy. They did make that
because his uncle didn't seem like that bad of a guy.
Yeah,
her uncle. I mean,
yeah. But yeah, so I think that's even in kind of what ultimately happened to Lena, who supposedly was absolutely dedicated to the royal family, but once she got enough power, she thought that she could do things better. But that's it. Yeah, I agree with you, Manny, that it's so scattershot and all over the place that's about the only thing I can pick out of various points and sort of put things together and go, yeah, okay, it's not innovative or new, but yeah, you get
definitely not.
The people with the power that can, kill the dragons that are part of creation. Yeah, they're probably going to be corrupt. You might think. All right, folks. Last thing, give it a rating. We're going to start with Manny. 1, would you recommend it to people? And 2, where on a scale of 10 would you let it drop?
I would recommend it to people. From a scale of 1 to 10, I would say a 6, 6 or 7. It's definitely enjoyable. And I could think of a lot worse shows than this. So, Blood of Zeus.
Yeah. Talking about them gods.
But yeah, it was enjoyable. It's definitely enjoyable so far.
Yep. Byron.
I would recommend it. I mean, I had fun. Like, I mean, I did drift off a couple of times with it, but I was never bored. Great animation, great action. If you love if you love anime, if you love Western influence from in anime, check it out. I'd probably give it a 7 out of 10.
All right, I think we're pretty much all in agreement here. I would say sure, and particularly if you are familiar with Dota or Dota 2, particularly, I get the impression not quite so bad as the Warcraft movie, but I got the impression that there's an awful lot of, ooh, look, it's if you knew what the lore was. And so I can definitely say if you know the lore, watch it. Even if you don't, it's still an exciting fantasy action series, which clearly has a deep lore that could be even more properly explored and explained on occasion. I think I'm, same spot. I'm going to split the difference. I'm going to go, even though I shouldn't because it's a scale of 10, I'm going to go a 6.5 out of 10. It's better than average.
In the words of Angry Joe, decimal points are for his suckers. Well, it's not what he says exactly, but I don't want to be too offensive tonight.
Yes, let's not. All right, so that's it, folks. That's our show. We're going to leave you with our usual invitation to go check us out on Patreon, patreon.com/nerdcaliber, the URL that's on your screen right now. If you are of a mind to, we'd love to have you as a patron. We would absolutely love to take some of that help and go to get to more cons. Run cons happen again. Omicron, go away. So check it out, folks. Patreon.com/nerdcaliber. Monday, No Nerd Caliber is something that we just changed. Gosh, I should remember this. So we're doing Arcane next week on Full Fat Spoiler Chat on this show.
Video game
Adaptations, I think it was.
Nope, because it wasn't just video game adaptations. It was, it was the female protagonists.
Okay.
Female protagonists in nerddom. So
Yes.
our top 3 favorite female protagonists in nerddom. Then, of course, Nerd Week Live next Tuesday. And we've already mentioned next Thursday, Full Fat Spoiler Chat will be Arcane. I
just want to point out the irony of the fact that we in 2 weeks we've done the competitors. We've done animations about 2 competitive MOBAs.
This is true, and I know nothing about either of their lore, so other than what I take pictures of in cosplay. And there's way more of that from League of Legends, to be clear. So, Anyway, give us goodbyes, folks. Let's start with Byron.
Hey guys, Byron D0. Thank you for joining us tonight. Please follow me on Instagram on my artist account, which is BD0Art. That's BDZEROART. Have a good night.
Cool. Manny.
Take care, everyone. Again, please continue to support us at nerdcaliber.com and our YouTube channel. Please follow us and stay tuned for more great shows.
Absolutely. Stay safe, folks. We'll see you at an upcoming show. And everybody around us here in New England, particularly on the coast of Massachusetts and coastal areas all the way down to New York City, stay safe this weekend. We could get absolutely dumped on with snow. So, fingers crossed it goes a little bit further east. And with that exciting and fun news, good night